Do 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 do. Ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. Hey, kia ora. Helen Browns here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1483, Finding Time. Oh, you ever had one of those days where you just can't seem to get it together, and that lovely little to-do list that you had drawn up, that this is what I want to accomplish today, nothing gets done on it, and you're sort of like, well, where did my time go? What happened? How did this happen? We all struggle with that from time to time. And to turn around and say, oh, I have every moment in every day that I want exactly how I want it, and I always get everything off my list. I'm sort of like, okay, yeah, that don't happen in this household. There are some people out there who may be able to cross everything off their to-do list every single day. But sometimes finding time can be a struggle. And I was talking with my accountability coach today, and she says, well, how's your week going? I says, to be honest, I said, I'm struggling. She goes, what are you struggling with? I says, finding time. So here we are talking about finding time. And it's not like I don't have a schedule, and I do have self-care time scheduled in there. I said, but it's just that, this is what I've got on my plate so far. And she's like, okay. And she says, so what are we going to do to fix it? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, the only reason I use an electronic, see, I'm a paper and pen girl when it comes to scheduling stuff in my calendar. I like, and this is why they sit on my desk, but I kid you not, these are I just don't want to get ink all over me. I have pens and highlighters. These tools get used in my planners. I love the paper planner. I can color code based on what an item is, and so that's how I use my schedule. But I have to transfer it into an electronic calendar. And they're sort of like, well, why do you still use the paper? And I says, because it sticks better when it's in my brain. When I write it down on a piece of paper, it sticks better with my brain. There is actually scientific proof between physically writing something with a pen or a pencil on paper that helps the brain to remember things. And they said, okay, so then why are you using an electronic calendar? And I said, it's very simple. I said, because I have people who want to book time with me, and so I have certain time slots available on certain days where people can book into my calendar, and they can't do that if I don't have my calendar up to date. So I'm using two processes, but that's just the way it is, because I got to have it so I got to be able to see that color visualization thing, and to be able to flip through my and of course some things that are going to be ongoing and everything else get put through the planner up until the stop date, basically. And so I'm sort of like, where do I find the time? Because I wake up at 5 o'clock. When they want work people to come, when they want maintenance people to come to the house, like we had the thingies on the roof. The solar panels were installed last week. And the strict instruction was, because those first 3 hours of the day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. are sacred time for me. That's when I'm having breakfast. It's when I'm doing my me time. It's when I'm taking Zephy for a walk. It is getting ready for the day. It is getting in that mindset. It's meditation time. All of that is in that 3 hours. And it's sacred time, because if I don't get it done in that 3 hours, it's not going to get done during the day. So my strict instructions to the people that were organizing the installation of the solar thing was, okay, I said, the power panels on the outside of the house, I said, I know they've got to turn the power off at some point, but they've got to get everything installed first beforehand. But this is a drop dead time for the power to be off, because I have to work. I'm happy in the morning to have it go out, but it has to be on by this particular time. And they are not allowed to ring the doorbell to ask me any questions or to schedule the time until 8 a.m. in the morning. My doorbell rang at 6:40 a.m. I was so tempted to just ignore it. I really was. And it's sort of like, this is my time. It's my valuable, that's my me time, prep for the daytime. That's my sacred time before 8 a.m. From 5 in the morning to 8 a.m. is my sacred time. Now, there are times that gets interrupted, like when I go on my weekly genealogy course at the end of July, because I have to be online by 7:30. So I'm getting up a little earlier on those days just so I get that time in and done, and to make sure that I get everything done in the morning that I need to get done. It's a routine. And, but then from 8 a.m. onwards, there's all this other stuff, 8 a.m. up to 6 p.m. because 6 p.m. I'm online with you guys. And so there's other stuff that has to happen during that time. And then after this, I then go and take Zeffy for a walk and I'm done for the day. My brain is burned. I'm a morning person. My brain is burned out by that point. And it's sort of like, well, you could do these video courses in the evening and you could do this in the evening. I'm like, you don't get it. My brain won't comprehend it. My brain is done. We've been for our walk outside in nature down at the park. And I've come back and I'm just sort of like feeling, yeah, this is so good. Now I just need to relax. And it could be sitting reading a book. It could be doing some puzzles. It could be watching something on Prime, like a movie or something. There are times that I just sit there and I might just have an audiobook going. And here's the quickest way to get through an audiobook. So a lot of time, because I have Kindle Unlimited, and so one of the things is that a lot of times the books that I am reading on audio, I can borrow the book from Kindle Unlimited. And so then I read along with the book while listening to it, and I get through the book a lot faster. I also up the speed to 1.5, 1.5 times or 2 times the speed to hear it. But I notice on novels that when you speed it up, you lose a lot of the character voices. You lose a lot of the inflection, inflection that they put onto the emphasis they put on different words. So it becomes more like a monologue than a story. So on the story ones, unfortunately, those just have to get played at regular speeds, maybe 1.2. But usually they're at regular speed because, and usually that's when I'm eating. And I know we had Nicole on last week who says, that food time, that's your sacred time when you should be enjoying, just being in the moment and enjoying the food that you're eating. I'm like, but that's just, yeah. I don't get that reflective when I'm eating. I'm sorry. Each to their own. I love listening to my audiobooks at that time, my storybooks. But I am conscious of what I'm eating because I've prepared the meal. And I'll stop playing the cards on the because remember I said if you remember I said that I sit there and I have my audiobook playing, which is usually a novel, because it helps clear out the junk. And I have other times that I listen to business stuff. And when I'm listening to business stuff, I'm usually I've got it the physical book, and I can follow along in the physical book and pause the audio and make notes and that sort of stuff. Sometimes there is a difference between what is said and what's in the book because of the way it's been narrated, especially if it's by the author of the book. They sometimes put extra bits and pieces in there that's not in the physical book. And sometimes I have to look at the book on electronic, which I really don't like, but I do. Because I don't really like doing non-fiction books on electronic. But if I've got the audio playing, it seems to help some. But last week when Nicole was on, I was talking about the fact that I have my storybook going. I'm playing cards on the laptop while I'm eating breakfast. Well, I have stopped playing cards on the laptop, but I still listen to my audio. I need that noise in the morning. I tried that without it, and to be honest, my brain was sort of like, what the hell's going on? I did try. Every time I sat down for a meal and I'm eating my meals, I'm being more conscious of eating my meals at my temporary dining room table, because instead of sitting in front of TV and eating, because when you sit in front of TV eating, I find I don't take notice of what I'm eating, and I could end up eating too much. And people go, but don't you put, and I says, yeah, no, if you get like a bag of chips or something, you just go sit down and eat, and now I'm putting them into a bowl. It's just those little things. So it's trying to find time to make sure I get things done in a way I can get it done. So I've currently got two online classes that I'm doing. Plus I've got my work that I do for clients. I've got travel clients. I've got virtual assistant clients. I've got genealogy clients that I'm all doing work for as well. And I'm doing online classes, and I have my part-time job that I do. So it's a full day, and making sure I get the commitments done for the clients is a big part of that. And it's sort of like, I want to commit to be able to do X number of hours a day on these online classes to make sure I get the information incorrectly and that sort of stuff. So sometimes there's a struggle of finding time. Sometimes colored post-its come into handy. See, brain's gone. It's already thinking of the walk we're about to take. But sometimes it's like taking post-it note, the different colored post-it notes that match my pens and my highlighters, and mapping it out on the countertop. I actually have space to do this. It's really cool. So I've got this big island that's got nothing on it, which I have to tell you, an island in the kitchen. All right. I don't like islands that have cooking surfaces on them, unless the cooking surface is in the middle of the island. But I like to have it off to the side, like against a wall, because it's harder for kids to run around and knock things off that. If you've got a cooktop that's like right on the edge of an island, yeah, no, that's not for me. That will be ripped out so fast you wouldn't believe it. Because now I've got 2 areas where kids can, I've got grandkids where they can run around and knock things off. Having the kitchen sink on the island. I prefer to have a clear island, but if you've got a kitchen sink there, put it in the middle. So you've got one area where you can put the dirty dishes, you hand wash them, and you stick them on the other side. But I prefer my island to have nothing on it. And so my island is pretty clear right now. I've got a fruit basket on there, which doesn't have fruit in it. And I've got my paper towels on there and a really cool picture and my blender. And I've got to have the blender up there for the smoothies. It's so much easier. It just sits there on its own little thing. But what I do is I take the sticky notes and I write out what I'm going to be doing. And I've got them all color-coded and stuff. And it's like, okay, here is your week. Now play with the sticky notes to try and sort it out. So that's what I'm doing right now is with my sticky notes, is taking the different color sticky notes. Oh, where is it? Oh, no, it's not in here. It's in the other room. I was clearing out, doing stuff out of Sparkles last night, and I opened up this box, and it was full of brand new packets of sticky notes. I'm like, oh, yes. But take sticky notes and plan out your week. If it's like, make sure you schedule in your meal times. Make sure you schedule in breaks. When you start organizing, and so I had to go back to that today after my accountability call to say, like, I have to find my time. I have to sort it out. I'm just letting things run away with me, and I'm not being conscious of what I am doing every day to find that time. So my question to you is, what do you do to find extra time in your day, extra time in your week or your month? But I use sticky notes. So I went back out there to use sticky notes, and all of a sudden it became quite clear. And you're probably going, well, how do you do the time grid and stuff? Well, those pale yellow post notes? Yeah, they have the days of the week across the top with those. And down the side, I have my hours. Yeah, something like that. But the pale yellow ones, they get used for the days of the week and the time slots down the side. And being on the island, it's like I have to put the days from the front to back because they're narrower, and then the time slots down the side. But yeah, that's how I go and find time, is take my sticky notes and go play. And of course, they're all color-coded. And it's sort of like, and there's times that I'm sort of like, oh yeah, I have phone calls available during this time, and I've got phone calls available during this time. So there are times I have to book myself over a possible time for a client. And that's the reason I need the electronic calendar, is so I can make sure that whenever time is blocked on my calendar, it is reflected. And when people go into my calendar to book time, that I'm not being overbooked, not being booked, double booked. Like if I have an appointment already there, it's not going and taking another one. So that's why I have to make sure I have an electronic calendar for electronic appointments, which I kind of like, because it means that we're not doing this messaging backwards and forwards. Well, we could do Thursday at 6 o'clock or Friday at 7. And yeah, there's none of that backwards and forwards thing. They can just, you give them a link, they go in, they fix, here's my times and days that are available. What works? Some people have come back and says, well, I can't find any times available for 3 weeks, and go, I'm sorry. And sometimes I can find an extra time to put somebody in, but most of the time it's like, I'm sorry. We'll have to meet in 3 weeks then. No, but I really need to talk now. And I'm sort of like, let me know what it's all about and stuff, and I will see if I have time available. And I said, otherwise, but go in and book that time, that first time available that will work for you. because it could be the time that you get left with. That could be the time that you have to have the appointment at. If I can find something earlier, I'll let you know. And so they have to tell me what they want up front. But I have to get better with timers as well. So because sometimes I'm on a call, a 45-minute call, and I'll go for an hour. I'm sorry, I go over my calendar. I do it to myself. It's I'm pretty good with schedules and stuff, but for some reason this past couple of weeks, even though I have things on my calendar and all of that, it's just not sticking for some reason. So I'm revisiting in case it's sort of like, well, maybe the routine's getting too old and you need to brighten things up a little bit. And but I think half the problem too is that I have on my brain right now is that Zeffie's going in for surgery tomorrow to have that little mass that's the size of an overgrown tick on her leg removed, and praying and hoping that that once they take that off, that's the cancer gone from her body. So anyway, so that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. So I just thought, finding time is such a difficult thing for some people. And, there's those that have the perfect schedule, everything's scheduled, it goes according to things. There's outside influences that'll come in and upset the schedule and stuff like that. But pretty much they got it. This week and last week, I've been like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And I get overwhelmed. I mean, I even have to schedule unpacking boxes into my schedule because I haven't really unpacked a lot in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've done some moving around and some sorting of boxes because I'm trying to get a space clear in the other room where I can put all the boxes that have books in them, put them in one place, and then I want to get all these boxes out of here so I can organize the office. So I need space out there to put these boxes that are in here, which are mainly office supplies. So I don't need to buy any sticky notes for a while. I don't need to buy any file folders for a while. What else do I have in there? Envelopes. I'm trying to see what's in that box. Notebooks, journals. I'm stocked for a good while, on all of those. So, find that little bit of time. And if you find you have, and then the other thing is I don't have it set up in here. But I'm missing my sticky note board. And my sticky note board is, here is my projects. And here are all the tasks for those different projects broken down into no more than 60 minutes. And you write in the corner how much time you think it's going to take. And you put what the task is and how much time you think it's going to take. So if you have an extra 5 or 10 minutes, you go to the board and you go, I need something for 5 to 10 minutes. Yep, I can do that one. And I can do that one. And you go and get those tasks done. And then once they're done, you screw them up. And at the end of the week, you've got these holes in your project board and the projects are progressing. So I'm getting back into that again because I haven't done that for a while. I just need to figure out where to stick my sticky note board because I can't put it on the walls because the walls are actually textured. And I can't stick anything on the walls. So yeah, but I want it where I can see it. So once I get my office organized, then I'll figure that one out too. So it's finding those little pockets of time here and there and getting little tasks done throughout the day that can help the big projects move along. So that's what I'm looking for right now. So when you're looking for time in your day, what is it that you do? What different techniques do you have for prioritizing what you want to do, for helping you get projects completed? Do you break your projects down into smaller tasks, or you just go, right, we're going to go work on this? Do you have I have my writing time in my schedule. I have, it totally just flew out of my head. I have, anything to do with Zeffie, it's all on my schedule. I make sure I've got breakfast in my schedule, 3 hours in the morning. I've got lunch in my schedule. I've got dinner in my schedule. Because if I don't put it in my schedule, I'll actually not eat. And I'll get to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm kind of hungry. Well, it's because you didn't have lunch. So anyway, I'm out of here. I rambled on. I'm sorry, I rambled on a little bit, but that one's just been bugging me. I've been rambling about the time thing because it's been upsetting me the last couple of weeks that I have just been all over the place with my time, even though I have schedules. Yes, I made the appointments that I had with clients. I got on time with those. So I have certain things that I have to be on time for. And so, yes, I'm definitely on time for those. But when it's something like you got to sit and do your writing course, or you got to sit and do this course, or we're working on this project, we're for a client, or this project for a client, those have been a little wishy-washy. So, but they've gotten done. They have been done. So that's good. And so now I'm going to go and take a DOG for WALK. Everybody have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow evening. It may be late. I'm supposed to be picking up Zeffie at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So we shall see. And it's a 30-minute drive from the vet to here. But then it depends how long I end up talking with the vet about her surgery and the care for the care, any dressings I have to change, the cone thing. She's going to be coming home with a cone, her pain meds. So any questions on that, any concerns they came across when they were removing the little tick thing. So I'm actually going to put it to 7 o'clock tomorrow night, just to make sure that we're back home in time. So 7 p.m. tomorrow evening is when we're going to go live. I know it's not 6 p.m. I'm sorry, but you know, if I get back by 6, I'll go on at 6. But we're just gonna push it to 7 o'clock, so that I'm not rushing with the vet and making sure I understand everything I have to do for Zeffie with her little incision thing that she's getting done, and then having to deal with her being upset with me for leaving her with the vet. Yes, she gets upset with me all the way home from the vet. Last time, after she had her teeth cleaned 2 weeks ago, she was telling me all about it and how I left her there. The whole entire drive home, she laid down in the back, and the whole way home, she had this conversation going on the entire. I think it actually took us like 40 minutes to get home last time because of traffic, because of the time of day it was. It took us 40 minutes to get home, and the entire 40 minutes all the way home from when I put her in the car. Actually, no, she started when she saw me and when I went to pick her up at the vet's office, and she started then. And she kept going all the way out to the car, and the car, all the way home. And it wasn't until I let her out at home and she came inside that she stopped. So I'm anticipating that sort of a conversation with her on the ride home tomorrow. So by 7 o'clock tomorrow night, you'll be able to hear all about it. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll see you here tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, konara.